But everything you said, that means he's winning.
What's up guys and welcome. You are watching Fazi Fitness. So let's start this video with Derek Lunsford, the 2023 Miss Olympia champion, who has kept his head down throughout this year's Arnold prep and has stayed pretty much covered up throughout most part of this prep. But thanks to Chris Cormier being on his team and also in Derek's corner for this year's Arnold prep. And every time you see Chris Cormier talk about Derek, you just get more hyped for this upcoming Arnold. Remember when Chris said, with extreme confidence, that Derek's obliques and his abs, they are gonna be way better at this year's Arnold compared to what we saw at the Olympia last year, or what we have seen from him ever before. And that statement was made when we were like 10 weeks out of this year's Arnold. And after watching Derek Serratis in that little sneak peek from his YouTube video, all of us were super impressed to see that. So I don't think Chris Cormier is out there just hyping up Derek just for the sake of it and just because he's on his team.
Avid thighs, dynamite. People are not going to even believe that's the same guy as he appeared in the Olympia in the years in the Olympia before. Right. They went to get the same physique. Front lat spread vastly improved. Front of a bicep improved.
He truly believes that this Derek is going to be at his all-time best. He legit sees that even some of the weakest shots of Derek, they have improved tremendously from last year's Miss Olympia. Now he specifically quoted the abs and thigh shot, which he lost to multiple guys at the Olympia last year. I mean, he lost that shot to all of the top 5 guys at the Olympia last year, except maybe from Hunter, and even that front lat spread, which has always been a weak shot for Derek. As per Chris Cormier, he looks way more impressive this time around. Now we have already established that it was a missed peak at the Olympia last year for Derek, and he paid the price and he dropped down to 3rd place. And getting 3rd place in his first ever Miss Olympia title defense, that was truly shocking and a very hard pill to swallow for Derek. So this is like a redemption for Derek Lunsford. Now Chris Cormier is the only big voice in bodybuilding in his corner right now, who feels like Derek is gonna beat Samson Another at this year's Arnold.
Well, the judges haven't seen him looking like this, so I'm still gonna be confident in my decisions.
Okay, so improved.
He's literally the only one. Can you imagine if his prediction actually comes true? And yes, some of us will certainly apologize to Chris Cormier, calling him delusional and biased. Guys, Mr. Olympia Signature Series is now live on hostel.com. Use the code FAZI10 to get 10% discount and click the arrow below to check out all the hostel products. So this is gonna be one of the most memorable year for Classic Physique division, just like it was back at the Olympia 1998, where we had no returning champion, and all the top guys, they brought their A games to the stage that year, hoping to win the Olympia. Now we expect nothing less from all these top Classic Physique guys, and ever since the Olympia last year, all the talk has been about Mike Sommerfeld, and rightfully so, he 100% deserves that. And most of the people out there 100% believe that he's the next in line to win the Classic Physique Miss Olympia title this year. But do not forget, the guy who defied all the predictions at the Olympia last year, Urs and got back into that top 3, especially after not having a very desirable result at both the Arnolds last year. So Urs was spotted training quads today, applying new techniques, and he made this big decision of skipping this year's Arnold and skipping the entire season and just focus on the Olympia, which has never happened before since 2022. The man has been constantly competing. Now Urs silenced all his doubters and his critics by bringing up his back, which has always been his biggest weakness since he came onto the pro scene. And even the weak body parts, they have came up tremendously since 2021, which was the year Urs made his Olympia debut and he placed top 4 that year. So the question right now is that, how much can he improve with a straight weight cap hanging over his head? He certainly cannot go above a certain body weight during the off-season, or he will only have one option of competing in the men's open bodybuilding, which is obviously something we would all like to see, but in the future from Urs. And Urs himself has also hinted that he might switch over to the men's open bodybuilding, but he wants to make a name in Classic Physique first, and that is by winning that Miss Olympia title. And especially after the way Chris Bumstead looked at last year's Pro, those tall classic guys, they will be more motivated than ever to take that bold step. But for now, Urs has only one aim in his mind, and that is winning that Miss Olympia title later this year. Guys, Gorilla Wear is offering a massive discount of up to 70% right now. Use the code Fazi10 to get 10% extra discount. Next up, we have another off-season physique update from one of the biggest freaks of current times, Vlad, who impressed us all in 2 shows that he did last year. So he was supposed to compete in the European shows as well, and especially that Europa Pro show that was won by Bruno Santos. If Vlad would have competed in that show, and considering he is a 2 times Olympian already, he would have made it 3 times, and I am very sure of that, because he looked at his all-time best in Chicago Pro last year, where he placed a very close second behind Muhammad Fadal, because the man looked as freaky on the stage as he does on Instagram, and he brought an unbelievable conditioning with Francesco Aspin. In fact, he was better than Muhammad Fadal, especially from the back. So this is a guy who goes over 300 pounds in the off-season, and surprisingly he stays so damn lean and in a superb condition even at the peak of his off-season. But I must say, he became a victim of trying to get too big too fast. His waist was really small when he first came onto the scene during his younger days. If I'm not mistaken, Vlad is either 27 or 28, so that much mass at such a young age, that is kind of extreme. Now all he can do at this point is bring crispy kind of condition and also be freaky as hell, and just hope that the shows that is going for this year doesn't have any big names in them. Next up, we have an update from Sergio Oliva Jr. Now he admits that he's one of the most disliked guy among the fans, and honestly, fans aren't talking trash when they say that he has only got 1 pro win, and that was at the New York Pro back in 2017, and that was the only Olympia that he qualified for throughout his pro career. So this is far from being called an impressive record for a guy who has been competing as a pro since 2017. But you cannot deny the fact that Sergio's size, especially when he is weeks out of the show, he always looks extremely impressive. But then again, that doesn't really matter if all that size doesn't translate on the stage. Now he also hasn't competed at all since Cali Pro 2023, so he's making his comeback after more than 2 years. And so far the updates that we have seen during his time working with Stefan, they do look promising. But until we see him bone dry and shredded on the stage, which he has never been in the past, him being close to 300 pounds, that doesn't matter one bit. Now if he's able to nail his condition, he will certainly be the biggest guy in Germany at FIBO, which we are basically just assuming that Sergio is prepping for that show, because he himself hinted about doing that show a few weeks back. So no hiding the fact that this is kind of like do or die situation for a guy like Sergio. He's 40 years old, and the young guys are improving at such a fast pace. So it's now or never. So a whole new breed of the IFB pros, they're gonna hit the pro scene this year. So a few days back, I featured for+Urs Ken, the guy who is getting ready to make his pro debut this year at the New York Pro. Now have a look at this guy, Ishoola Smoke King. This guy turned pro just last year, and looking at his recent physique update, the man looks like a monster. The condition he brought to the stage last time, when he won his pro card, that was wild. And looking at some of his poses, like his front double biceps, he really has a very nice V-taper. And if he can continue to build up on that frame, keeping his waistline in check and his symmetry exactly the same, or maybe enhance even more by putting on muscle in all the right areas, he's gonna be such a good men's open competitor in the future. So do you guys think there is gonna be a generational shift this year in bodybuilding when those big names like Brendan Carey, William Bonac, they are about to retire very soon, and guys like for+Urs Ken and Ishoola, they will become the future forces in the men's open? And also we have guys like Carlos Thomas and Justin Shire making their comebacks this year. So just a little over 2 weeks out physique update from Logan Franklin, just over 2 pounds over his classic physique weight cap. So this is undoubtedly the best Logan to date, and maybe he will finally get that comparison with the top guys at this year's Arnold. So there is nothing that Logan is missing here. He has great aesthetics, amazing flow, great muscle bellies. Now he hasn't been fully ripped, especially on the stage, and especially in comparison to the top guys. And that is probably one of the major reasons why he isn't placing as high, has his own expectations. So he is now 2 weeks out from this year's Arnold and just 2 pounds above the weight limit. That means no worrying about making that weight, and he looks to be in a really nice spot. So I still think there are some guys in this year's Arnold lineup who are gonna outmuscle him, and that too quite convincingly. So in order for Logan to stand out, him and Patrick, they must nail every aspect of this prep and bring him in to 100%. Now he has changed a lot over the years. His first year as a classic physique competitor, especially if we get this comparison from that point. It's like an amateur versus pro. The man has improved a lot. So hit the thumbs up button if you liked the video and smash the subscribe button if you wanna come back for more. Thanks for watching.